Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Hagedorn here at EOU Reading Clinic, where I serve as Director of Tutoring and Family Services. If you are a first grade family watching this video, I'm super excited to share this resource with you. We have a read, write, and play kit made by Really Good Stuff. First thing I want to point out is that if I go too fast or you want to refer back to what we talked about, there is an activity guide that's included with the kit that covers all of the same instructions that we're going through in this video today. The activity guide is also available in Spanish, so this is accessible for both of our English and Spanish speaking families at home. Let's jump in. First thing you will find in your kit is this Spaceman writing journal. The writing journal does review letter shapes, so basic uppercase and lowercase letter shapes. But by first grade, we really are beginning to work on writing words and even sentences. And so the biggest key that you'll notice here is that we're helping students practice proper spacing between letters, which is a very small amount of space, and words. You will notice that it's modeled for the kiddo. We're also encouraging them to use a spaceman. Some teachers use that. Some teachers will have kiddos use a popsicle stick. You might even see kindergarten teachers, having students write a word, put their finger down, go to the other side of their finger and continue writing the word. So lots of options here in this writing journal, with the focus being that we want to start having students space letters appropriately within individual words and then be sure to leave additional space in between one word and the next word. So that's first item in your kit. There is more handwriting practice that comes into play on these large dry erase cards. You will notice there's a review, like I said earlier, with the letter formation of both lowercase and uppercase letters. On this card, the directionality is noted. So it shows you where to start the letter stroke and which direction to go. For example, capital A, we have a big line down. We go back to the top to do the other big line down, and then we go across the same direction that we read. Please sit with your child and watch and make sure that they're following the strokes appropriately. We know that handwriting instruction is critical for both learning to read and write. It's also very helpful, surprisingly, for students remembering the sounds that letters make. So we write letters a certain way because it's most efficient. We also write letters a certain way because it can be connected to us having the ability to remember the letter sound when we see the letter shape. So that's in there. The other elements that are in this first grade kit are all really connected to content within stories. So reading is not only about letter recognition and understanding what letters represent what sounds, it's also about thinking about what the letters and words mean within the context of whatever it is that you're reading. This simple story retelling mat can be very fun. The child can do pictures or words within the boxes. This one says someone, wanted, but, so, and finally. So they can make up an unlimited amount of stories with these simple retell cards. You will also find that this one takes it a little bit step further. Someone wanted something, but this happened. So finally this happened. And then they can expand those stories with further details. These things will not only get your kiddo writing and thinking, but they'll also lend itself to you having conversation with your child. Us having conversations with our kiddos really do help support building vocabulary, building background knowledge, and supporting the language that is needed to understand text when we read those books. There's a very fancy black velvet bag inside your kit, and this one is called a middle sound match game. You will notice there's a deck of cards inside the kit. There's a box and then a variety of cards. The goal with this one is to encourage your child, number one, to see what's in the picture, and then see if they can hear the sound that is happening in the middle of that word. So I might say that this picture is of a rose. Sounds in the word rose or O, Z. So the middle sound in the word rose is O. This next picture is of a rope or O. And so we might have our child match rose and rope. That's just one example of how it could be done. This word is crab and raft. You notice that the middle vowel sound, even though there's a blend. So crab, k, ab, and raft, aft. There's one vowel sound in the middle of each of those, and it's that short vowel sound. So you can play this like a bingo game. You can play this like a memory game where you spread the cards out and you turn one over and you see what the middle sound is and you turn another over and see if they match. If they do, you get to keep them. If they don't, you have to turn them back over and then somebody knows where two more card options are. So middle sound match activity is another option in your kit. The final thing that's included is the CVC word spinner. I'll call it a mat that has actual spinners on it, and then a whole bunch of activity cards. Now, when we say CVC words, what we mean is consonant, vowel, and consonant. So the vowels in English language, you'll notice here, and you probably already know this, A, E, I, O, and U. That's why we have that in the middle. The words that we're going to be spelling will start with a consonant, they'll have a middle vowel sound, and then they'll end with a consonant. In CVC words, the vowel is always going to make its short sound. So on this card, A will say A, E will say E, I will say I, O will say A, and U will say If I wanted to spin these, we'll see if they will stay balanced. My first one, I got R. My second one, I got I. And my last one, I got N. So I would write the letter R, I, N. In, rin. Now, rin, as far as I know, is not an actual real word. And you know what? That's totally fine. Because we can read silly words or we can read real words the exact same way. We use what we know about letters and sounds to sound out and blend the word. So your child can spell the word and then you can talk about, is that a real word that you know? Is that a word that you don't know? If our middle vowel had been U, the word would have been run. So lots of options there just on this card itself. But when you combine that with these other activity cards, you have countless minutes you could spend with your kiddo. This one, you can use that spinner again to try to land on the correct letters in order to build words. So let's say I spun that first spinner and I landed on a C. I have a bat, a leg, a pig, a cop, and sun. So I got a C, and I would want to put the C there at the beginning of that word. I could do the same thing at the end. This time, oh boy, it's my lucky day. I spun a P, so I would have built the word cop. Let's say, though, that it's not as lucky of a day, and I spun a G. Og will not build the word cop, so I would need to look at these. Pig ends with G, and I would write the letter G right there. They can spin and spin and spin for as long as they like until they're able to build the words. More of the same on the back. Here is another language building opportunity. So they're just going to spin one letter, and then they're going to make a list of all the words they can think of that either start with that letter sound or end with that letter sound, or maybe even you'll have them spin a vowel in the middle, and then they can think of words that have that middle vowel sound, which will be the trickiest activity for your child. So for most children, it's easiest to hear and identify the initial or first sound. It's next easiest to hear and identify the final sound, and hearing and identify that middle sound is the trickiest of all. So you can challenge your kiddo based on whatever level they're at. There are some bingo cards in here, so that can be really fun. There are also some sentences. You'll notice we've got those clear spaces that align with the journal that we were using earlier, talking about spaceman, putting spaces between our words. Here we can spin some more, and it's got word patterns. So when we're looking at ending word patterns, if we can read fun, we can read run and sun, because we can use what we know about that chunk of word to read some other words too. So have fun with these activity cards. If you have questions, we would love for you to reach out to us. Our email address is community-literacy@eou.edu, and we hope you enjoy and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.